All right, welcome to another edition of the Realist in Boxing Podcast. I'm Joe Habib, and this is Cisco, the Realist, and we're brought to you by Everybody Loves Sports and the World of Sports Network. And we're going to talk about the Lara Hurd fight that took place last week. I know we discussed a lot of this with Eric and Robert and myself on the Ringside Reporter podcast last week, but I'm going to want to hear from Cisco, the Realist, because he has an entirely different take than all three of us did. And we're going to kind of discuss why he feels the way he feels, and we're gonna kind of have a little debate amongst ourselves because he sees it entirely differently, and I want to know why. Charlo Trout. Speaking of junior middleweight division, we got another interesting matchup coming down the pike with Jermell Charlo and Austin Trout. We thought Austin Trout would go right against Jarrett Hurd, go right at him, but it's not happening. He's going to take Trout first, and Jarrett Hurd, who knows what's going to happen next.
Charlo will go right at Jarrett Hurd.
That's what I said.
No, you said Trout.
No. Well, Charlo's going to be going against Trout instead of Hurd. That's what I thought I said.
Yeah.
Easy for you to say. All right. Let's talk about this Joshua fight that's supposed to the negotiations that have allegedly started between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. And we're going to preview Adrian Broner versus Jesse Vargas, which happens next week.
Tyson Fury.
Yep. Tyson Fury is going to be back June 9th. He's throwing his hat back into the mix. And also Canelo still looking for that fight on May 5th. Golovkin, yeah. Golovkin still looking for that fight on May 5th. So we'll see. And Canelo, speaking of Canelo, I was thinking of this when I said that. Canelo is saying he's never going to fight in Vegas again. He also said he would never fight for that WBC belt again. So we'll see if he holds true to that. All right, so let's talk about this Lara Hurd fight. You go right ahead because I already gave my take on it. I'm going to listen to what you have to say, and then I'm going to kind of debate and kind of pick apart your points.
Well, man, I feel like whenever I talk to you about this fight and you hear my point, I feel like I'm in trouble. I was actually afraid to come and do this show with you.
No.
Because
no.
Look, listen. This fight have no business whatsoever being the fight for fight of the year. This fight do you agree or disagree on that?
Oh, this fight definitely overachieved my expectations of how entertaining it was going to be. No question about it.
The fight was very entertaining. Great job by both fighters. The decision by the judges, look, it was one of the most accurate decisions, although I had it all the way around. Do you agree that it was inaccurate compared to some of the scoring fight that we have seen in recent years? Although you don't agree with that.
The scoring was, I had no problem with
the scoring was fair.
The scoring was definitely fair, no question about it.
So, all the credit in the world for Jarrett Hurd. Either fighter could have won the fight. If people tell me Lara won, like I believe he did, people say Hurd won. I'm not gonna debate that. This is a fight that deserves a rematch. This is a fight that could have been a draw, or either fighter could have won the fight. It was that good of a fight. I agree with fight like this happening versus a fight happening because one guy got robbed. That's just me.
So you thought Lara won this fight, and explain to me why you thought Lara won this fight.
I feel he won the fight because he won the fight, and he won the fight in the beginning of the fight. Like in the first half, he took enough of a lead to win the fight based on the scoring system that is placed in boxing, based on round and based on what he did. I feel he did enough to win the fight. What I mean he did enough, I feel he landed a lot of clear combination. The combination were more clear that he landed. Hurd landed more to the body. In a fight, when the guy comes forward and the guy is a lot stronger, sometimes he can walk through the punches. Like, for example, this fight don't count, but like in the Cotto Margarito fight, Cotto was landing a lot of hard punches, a lot of them, but it wasn't slowing Margarito down. I mean, but in this fight, Walara this right, he landed a lot of combination in the exchanges. He landed the most clear exchanges. I felt in the first half of the fight, he not having a 5-1 easily. In the second half of the fight, I had the fight up 3-3, and the knockout was the difference, justifying my scoring 115.
Okay.
Not, I believe Jared Hurd did a great job. Jared Hurd uh, was the ring general because of the fight benefited his style. Lara, I was expecting Lara. I was expecting this fight. My reason for predicting Lara to win the fight was because I thought I was going to see a similar fight to the Canelo fight. When the guy that was going to bring the pressure, he was trying to stay away, slip punches, and make the guy look bad by making him miss. In this fight, that did not happen for whatever reason. I really believe there were questions. Everybody was questioning him about that style. His style was a boring style. He is getting older. Maybe it could have been a combination of him not he just turned 35 like 2 days ago. Him being older, maybe he felt like there is not enough time for him to keep fighting, and him not being able to get the big fight. I felt like this was more like I felt like he had something to prove, and at the same time, maybe he felt the guy was a lot bigger and this style would have been better. I don't know. I think that fans and everybody of him, because that was into the hype, and all of those interviews that took place were asking him about the style, and he said that he was gonna change more and do a different thing. It was more like when Bradley fought Probachnica. He had no business fighting him that way, and when he started to fight one way, sometimes you cannot change because you already started that. So if he goes and engage with this guy, maybe it's too late. Maybe he's already in that. Maybe he will not have a chance to excel, and he probably will lose, and it will be too late to start making him move. And if he does and he's successful, they're gonna say that all of a sudden he started running. So no matter what, at that point when the fight started in the middle of the ring going toe to toe, you can change that. So, but I felt he did enough to win. Jared Hare was the ring general. I won't take that away from him. But he got edged out on the points. And in the rounds, and in those rounds that could have gone either way, Lara looked in my eyes as the guy that landed the clear combination. In my eyes. That's why I had it that way.
Yeah. And that's fine. I guess the one issue I had with you when we were talking about this was you said Lara fought the wrong fight. And I think he was forced to fight a fight that he did not want to fight, because what was working in the first half of the fight was not working in the second half of the fight, because Jared is not afraid to give early rounds away because he believes that later in the fight, his pressure will make the other fighter wilt and succumb under all that heat that he puts on a guy. And it did in this fight. I believe just as he expected it would. I think it did. Now, I thought Lara won 4 of the first 6 rounds. Judges, and they had it 3-3 in the second half. 2 of the judges did, and one judge I think had it 3-3, and then he had it like 4-2 in the second half.
That 1 point.
Yeah, so it was a close fight. But the thing is this: I think Lara was able to move well in the first half of the fight. I think he was boxing well. I think he was countering well. But I think Jared Hurd was feeling him out in the first half of the fight. He wasn't really putting his best stuff on him. He was gathering that data. He was more or less probing Lara just to see what he had, see how the punches felt, see where the openings were going to be. And he wasn't putting a lot of mustard on his shots, but he was making sure that he still would at least dig one hard shot to the body. And I think over the course of time, the body shots and him with the constant pressure, because as I said before, these counter punches are looking to slow down the fight. And usually they're able to slow down the fight because their sharp counter punches are able to kind of freeze the aggressive fighter and make him think twice about coming forward, number one. And number two, they actually, if the counter puncher has any type of pop or explosiveness to his shots, they're going to freeze him in his tracks. And it's going to give that counter puncher that extra couple seconds where he can have some breathing room and kind of regroup and reset. Lara was never allowed to reset in this fight. He was never allowed to feel comfortable in this fight. He was never allowed to slow the pace of this fight down. So all the success that he was having early, he would not be able to sustain it because Lara kept putting on the pressure, walking through the shots. And then he started gaining confidence as the fight wore on. And even the shots that maybe weren't landing as clean as clearly, and they weren't as flashy as the Lara punches, but they were still causing damage because this guy is heavy-handed. He's just strong. And then when he lays on you on the inside, he just wore Lara out. And then when the second half of the fight came around, so he basically had to stand his ground and he had to try to fight Hurd off him because he didn't have the energy or the strength to keep moving. That's how I saw it. So I don't think he intentionally went in there and said, from Jump Street, I'm going to turn this into Ward Gotti. I don't think that was the plan. I think that he was forced into doing it in the second half of the fight. And I think if these guys honestly fight 10 times, I think that Hurd would win 7 out of the 10 times. Hurd is like Ken Norton was to Ali. He's like that to Lara. It's just that this style is Lara's kryptonite. Whereas before, he was able to deal with guys like this, but Hurd just brings that special conditioning, that strength, that determination. Basically, he never gets discouraged, no matter how many times he's hit, no matter how many rounds he loses. His mentality is, I'm gonna win this fight under any circumstance. Lara is able to discourage other fighters. I don't think he had the ability to discourage Jarrett Hurd. And that's where I think the difference was. I think he brings a different psychology to the fight, a different mental and physical pressure to the fight that Lara's never seen before. And that's why I think he won the fight, in my opinion.
And you have a great point. What I think about is this. I really think, and call me crazy, a lot of people would.
Yeah.
I think Lara could make adjustment in a rematch, but the adjustment that he needs to make, he might have to reconsider. He's gonna be older. If a rematch was to happen, it's not gonna happen right away. It might go 6, 7, 8 months. He's probably slowing down. Only he knows that. He doesn't fight that way. Although Hurd made him fight that way. If you want to say that, that's fine. But he got his handful here. And I will admit that.
Yeah.
Because Hurd is going to apply that pressure. Hurd might make adjustment and apply that pressure from the beginning in a rematch. And not wait, even though he's a slow starter, not wait until the end because he almost lost the fight.
Yeah.
He have to understand that, that not the whole world agree that he won. So what I'm saying is this: if Lara have, you remember when George Foreman lost to Frazier?
George Foreman didn't lose to Frazier. Muhammad Ali
lost to Frazier. And then he was gonna fight George Foreman.
Yeah.
Okay. So you remember Ali found himself in a predicament as like, should I continue? Is my life over? Like Rocky 3, when he lost to Cleaver Lane.
Yeah.
Do you remember like Rocky find himself like asking, am I too old? Do I really want to continue? I compare the Lara situation for this reason. Let's face it. I am big on Erlandis Lara and his boxing skill. I don't think he got him that shot. I think his two most signature wins that would have got him in the pound for pound ranking were again Paul William, then Canelo. He didn't get the credit for that.
Yeah.
So his greatness as he's getting older is questioned, and the level of opposition that he has fought is not the greatest. And I admit to that. So it was like Rocky. All of those opponents until he fought Clever Lane were not the greatest. He only fought Apollo Creed, right?
Yeah.
Not until the point.
Yeah.
In Rocky 3. So Lara had the Rocky 3 factor. Now he needs to decide, do I want to retire? Do I really want to continue? Because he is slowing down. And if he's going to keep at the face, call me crazy. But he will need another trainer. Rodney Shield will not be the guy for him at this point. You know why? Because if he's going to fight like that, he needs to become a better inside fighter. If he was able to fight, if Lara was able to go to the body like Andre Ward, it would have been a whole different fight between him and her. Yeah. Because a fighter that does one thing that the fighter, maybe I'm wrong, and then correct me if I am because you're the expert. When a fighter don't like when another fighter does the same thing to them. So if Lara goes to the body, that's how you slow a guy like her down too, I think.
Well, let's just say this. I will concede one point. If Lara is able to hurt Hurd, it's a different fight. Because if he can get the same response Hurd's getting out of his punches from his, that if Lara can get that same reaction, then it's a different fight because it would definitely slow Hurd down. But the thing is he just doesn't have that ability. He hasn't shown that ability to hurt Hurd. Now, he landed as clean as he could against Hurd.
But he won't go into the head. In order to slow her down, you got to go to the body because he's going to keep coming. You got to do to him what he does to you.
But that's the thing.
Styles may fight.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. Well, that's why we got a great fight. Because the style.
Say the rematch gets signed tomorrow. Are you still rolling with Lara in the rematch, or are you going to pick Hurd? I put a gun to your head. You got to make a pick.
I'm still rolling with Lara on the rematch.
Okay.
But my suggestion for him on the rematch is this. If you still have the leg, brother, start using it from the beginning. Do not waste your energy in the beginning of the round because you know this guy can take all of your punches. So I would suggest let go her pace in the beginning, her taking those rounds off and her trying to build. Like, don't throw one punch at a time, move around, and be prepared to fight in the second half when he come along. Be prepared to fight in the second half so you don't wear yourself down because hitting this guy is like hitting a punching bag. Okay. You're wasting energy.
Anybody in the chat picking Lara in a rematch? Because I think he gets knocked out in a rematch. Anyone else agree with me, or do you agree with Cisco? I'm just curious. But let's talk about Charlo, because Charlo was supposed to be the guy to be the missing piece and fight Hurd next and unify the titles. Well, not all of them. I mean, Charlo, I believe, has a WBC, and Hurd has the IBF, and the WBA now. So it would have been another belt or another two for Charlo or another one for Hurd. But we got thrown a curveball, and now Charlo, after saying he wants to unify this division, he wants to fight the best, he's going to fight Trout, a guy who Hurd already knocked out. But, with all due respect to Trout, he was winning the fight before he got knocked out. So do you think that's a good fight? And would you like to see, I'm sure you would like to see, I shouldn't even ask this question, wouldn't the Charlo Hurd fight make more sense at this point? Or do you think Trout deserves another shot at a title at this stage of his career? Because he looks like he's kind of getting shop worn at this point.
Let me ask you this. Why Jamel Charlo picking Austin Trout when he was saying that he wanted Jarrett Hurd right away, that he wanted it to unify the title? Now He was not gonna fight Lara if Lara would have won because of that relationship and everything. It would have been something.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so why is he fighting Austin Trout? Austin Trout is an example of styles may fight because Austin Trout is a one fight wonder. After that Cotto fight, he was never the same fighter. I picked him against Cotto, believe it or not. From the beginning,
Yeah.
I picked him against Cotto.
I didn't
because Styles may fight, and I saw one thing that I saw from him. Not that this is wrong, but I saw like his life, the car he drove, and like this is a guy getting an opportunity out of the blue.
Yeah.
This is a guy. Cotto was doing pretty much what Apollo did with Rocky.
Yeah.
Call him up to make a fight. Cotto could have fought a lot of people. Cotto was the big money maker, and he said, "No, I fight the best guy, the guy that I think has the best skill to justify that." When a lot of people that are not boxing expert or diehard fan knew who Austin Trout was. So, and then Trout already fought his brother, his twin brother.
Yeah.
It was a very close fight.
It's a close fight.
I thought Trout didn't have to win the fight.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with the decision, but I thought Trout didn't have. Which one of the brothers to you is the better fighter? Which one?
I like Jamal better. I just think that he's a little bit more. I think he's stronger. I think he hits harder. I think they both have good boxing skills. But I just think Jamal's a little bit more explosive, a little stronger, a little more heavy-handed than Jamel.
So Jamel and Jamor are like what Vitali is to Vladimir.
It's a fair comparison, yeah.
So look, I don't think it's a good fight, man. He should have fought Jared Hurd right away. Unify those titles, get that unification, get clear why he feel he is the best fighter.
Yeah.
Why waste your time when you know that money is fighting Jared Hurd? Why waste your time? Like he's living down. Like right now, what he's doing is this. He's pretty much what he's trying to do is this. Wants to take Lara out of the way. Because if it now pretty much Lara will be forced to fight Jared Hurd again. So if Lara loses, then Lara is out of the way because he might retire. So now all you have to do is fight Hurd.
Yeah.
But if Lara wins, now he have to fight Hurd and probably fight Lara too.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't agree with that fight. What is your take on that fight?
Because of how Trout has looked recently, it's not the same fight that it would have been if it happened a year ago or maybe a year and a half ago. I think at this stage, this isn't going to be the best Trout that we're going to see. Maybe even 2 years we have to go back, and then it would have been competitive. But now, I think Charlo is getting a less than stellar Austin Trout. With all due respect, I like Austin Trout a lot, but I just think that at this stage of his career, I don't think he's got a ton left. I think he's getting sharp one at this point. I think he's been in some tough fights.
So you think if this is the same Austin Trout that fought Jamal, can he beat Jamel?
Yeah, he could. He could. He could.
And what will mean for Jamel if Austin Trout wins? But we know how that works. We know that Austin Trout might not win. You know why? Because he might have to knock him out in order to win. Because who is the up and coming fighter?
Jamal.
Exactly.
Jamel, I should say.
Yeah. So
Jamal too. But
in order for Austin Trout to win, he will have to put a performance like he did against Cotto.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like I don't know what. Is he still training with Luke Bird?
Is Trout? I'm not even sure who he's training with at this point. I don't think he's changed trainers.
So, I mean, what will mean for Jamel career if he was to lose to Austin Trout?
It would be a huge setback.
And when what will happen next? Austin Trout get a rematch with either Lara or Jared Hurd?
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy for Trout. He's got another payday, which is good for him. He has another title shot, but I don't know. At this stage, it's hard for me to pick him. Tyson Fury, big press conference yesterday.
How he's doing? What is the weight? How much?
He's lost a lot of weight. He's saying he's got to lose about 10 or 12 more pounds to be in the shape that he wants to be. But he's saying he's going to fight 4 times this year. So by him saying he's going to fight 4 times this year.
This year, we already almost in summertime.
I know.
4 times this year?
Yep.
So Tyson Fury is going to fight, and you say when? June 9?
Yep.
So he's going to fight June 9, and then he's going to be back in September? And then
Frank Warren says he's going to keep him busy. So obviously these aren't going to be big against world beaters. We know that. But he keeps talking about Anthony Joshua, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen until probably next year or late summer or something next year. Or
he got his license, right?
He's ready to go. Yeah,
ready.
He's ready to go. He's ready to go.
Well, Tyson is one of those guys that he's good for boxing. He does the talking, he does the walking. Yeah. He's really good for boxing. So it will be nice to see him making a comeback. So
I mean, we got to see. I mean, he looks starting to look good physically, but again, it's been 2 years, 7 months, and he had been abusing his body a great portion of that layoff. He's coming back now, looks good, but my big question is, will all of the damage that he had done prior take its toll or have a lasting effect on him, regardless of when he comes back or not? Because he did a lot of damage to his body physically, and I'm rooting for him. I want him to come back. I want him to do well, but I'm just saying, hopefully he can bounce back. But there's a ton of question marks. Will he be the same? He's going to have to show us something when he comes back, and the big question is, how much can we learn from 4 tune-ups or 3 tune-ups?
So
that's the thing.
Pretty much after all of this tune-up fight, the next guy he fought is going to be questioned whether he defeated himself because of all of the damage that he did to his body. That's how serious things are with him. So I mean, I'm expecting him to, if he's back, for him to really be serious.
He's got to be.
The sport.
He's really got to be serious, or it's going to be a waste of time. And Eddie Hearn's already said that if he was to fight Anthony Joshua, it would be Joshua's biggest payday and Tyson Fury's biggest payday. It'd be a monstrous size fight in the UK.
You are more familiar with those negotiations back in the UK, and you are the UK guy. How serious is Tyson Fury when he say the 50 million? When he say, take my 50 million.
Anthony Joshua?
Well, Fury, when he says to Anthony Joshua, take my 50 million.
Again, I don't like talking about the money part of boxing.
That's accurate when he said that that can actually happen.
Yeah, I mean,
he can offer that kind of money.
I don't think so.
That he feel like he can bring that kind of money to the table.
It's tough to say, but I mean, I don't like talking about the money part of boxing. I don't like counting pockets, watching other fighters' pockets, because we just don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But the thing is that's what the fighters themselves, they kind of forcing down our throat. The fighters are talking more about, it being a business, which it is a business, but a lot of people, the fighters are talking more about the business side of boxing and less about the fighting side of boxing. Whereas they should let their managers and their promoters and stuff worry about that stuff. But that's not to say that, you shouldn't be an integral part of the negotiations. You should, be right there with your manager, your promoter, and looking at the numbers and going over why you're being offered what you're offered, knowing behind the scenes how this money's being generated and, what you're supposed to be getting. You shouldn't just turn a blind eye to it, but that shouldn't be your focal point. Once the negotiations start and stuff and the numbers being thrown at you, you need to ask your manager, your advisor, your promoter, well, how are we coming to this number? Because Tyson Fury, that seems like a high number, 50 million. People talking about how this fight with Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder would be $100 million fight. How are they coming to that conclusion? You know what I'm saying? Because the Klitschko fight with Anthony Joshua, I believe, was they generated like 53 million in revenue, and they were able to, and they got 15 million apiece. So you're not going to get the total revenue. I mean, other people have to get paid, the networks have to get paid, the promoter has to get paid, and then the fighters get what's left over. So you know, they made reportedly 15 million apiece. I believe Joshua got 18 million against Parker, and Parker got 9.5 million. So allegedly, Deontay Wilder's been offered 12.5 million. He's not happy with that. But my question is, you know, he wants a piece of the back end, but what back end do you want a piece of? You want a piece of the UK back end money? Because I have to ask, did Klitschko get a piece of the UK back end money? Did Parker get a piece of the UK back end money? I believe Klitschko got some back end money from the Eastern European market, Russia and Eastern Europe. I believe he got a part of that revenue. But did they offer Klitschko, a piece of that revenue? Because Joshua is the guy that is generating that revenue in the UK. I don't think Wilder is. So is it fair for Joshua to have to give him a piece of that? Now, if Showtime has stepped up and they say they want to be part of the negotiations, they want to help. So why wouldn't Showtime kick in a few dollars to Wilder to make it worth his while on top of the 12.5 million? Because Joshua's never fought on pay-per-view before. So how are we supposed to know what he can generate money-wise pay-per-view? We already know what Anthony Joshua can generate, or it's already known what Anthony Joshua can generate because he's been on pay-per-view in the UK several times already. So I don't know what Deontay Wilder's team wants. I know they're going to counteroffer. I don't know how much more they want. I don't know if they want a piece of that UK market. I don't know if that's what they're looking for. But my question is, do they deserve a piece of that UK market? Because they've never fought in the UK. They did not build that UK market. Anthony Joshua built that UK market. Now, Deontay Wilder is really growing in the UK. I mean, leading up to the build-up for the fight between Deontay Wilder and Joseph Parker and Anthony Joshua, leading up to that, I mean, a lot of people were talking more about Deontay Wilder than they were Joseph Parker. So definitely the UK fans are excited about Anthony Joshua fighting Deontay Wilder and having Deontay Wilder come over to the UK. But should he get credit for building that market? I think Anthony Joshua right now is the biggest face in the sport of boxing. He is the money man. So I think definitely he deserves the lion's share. And I don't know. I mean, if the Klitschko fight was a $53 million fight, allegedly the Parker Joshua fight was a $35 million fight. I think if you want to be really optimistic, I think Joshua Wilder is possibly maybe a 55, maybe $60 million fight. And to offer a flat fee of 12.5, is that really out of the ballpark? Should Wilder take that? Because if Wilder takes that and he wins, then he's on top of the world. Then he can start dictating. Then he's in that position. Then he can start calling shots. How much more should Wilder get? What should the deal be? How are people coming to the conclusion that this is a $100 million fight? I don't think it is. I mean, looking at the data, the empirical data, looking at previous fights, is Wilder bigger than Klitschko was? Let's face it. I mean, Klitschko has been atop of the heavyweight division for over 10 years. He was undefeated. He unified titles. He's been in bigger fights than Wilder. How much bigger is a Wilder Joshua fight than a Klitschko Joshua fight was? And Klitschko got 13 million, he got 15 million, and Joshua got 15 million. So should Wilder get 15 million? Has Wilder built up the same resume that Klitschko had? Now, Joshua hasn't either, but again, he's drawing the revenue. I know that was a mouthful, but you go ahead and give me your thoughts, because I'm not so sure this 12.5 million is a bad deal.
This is the thing. This is the thing. This is where I'm at. The fight doesn't make sense for the fight to take place in Vegas because the UK is where the money is being generated for this fight.
Yes.
So the only way Deontay Wilder can get more money is if he can prove that he can sell the fight in the US.
Yes.
If he can prove that he can sell the fight in the US, if he tells Anthony Joshua, listen, I can sell this fight in the US and you can get this amount of money in the rematch, regardless of I dictating the shot, then I say, you know what? You're right. You're bringing that money. But look, up towards the fight and to the whole situation with Joshua is not very respectful. He's disrespecting people to sell the fight, to promote the fight. He's out there disrespecting guys, calling them names, calling people, talking about social classes and stuff like that. Like, he's not a good promoter. Let's face it. In order for you to sell a fight, he's not selling the fight correctly. So that's already a downfall. It's not like, okay, for example, Floyd Mayweather, right? And Conor McGregor. Why did the fight happen? Why did the fight generate so much money? Because you have two of the best promoters in the history of sport. Conor McGregor is just as good as anyone promoting
wise, yeah.
Promoting wise.
Yeah.
And he was a UFC fighter. So as a boxer, Deontay Wilder should be able to do a better job selling the fight. You agree or disagree on that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So, no, Deontay Wilder is not a better opponent than Klitschko. He's not a better fighter than Klitschko was. He's more of a threat because of his
dangerous.
Yeah, it's more dangerous, and he got youth on his side that Klitschko didn't have. Vladimir Klitschko was a threat for 12 years, and he was champion for 9 years and 8 months, right? 9 years and 8 months. He was on top of the world. Like, it was to the point that they were asking themselves, is this guy gonna lose in the next decade? Because Klitschko really dominated, and Klitschko was a very skilled fighter, and Klitschko was already big in Europe. Klitschko was big in the US. Klitschko is a Hall of Famer. I don't think he's one of the top heavyweight, but Klitschko presented a more of a challenge, and he was a more attractive opponent for Joshua. He was Joshua a step up fight. Deontay Wilder is a risk. So since Joshua is the A side and he's taking a risk, his reward should be bigger. That's my thought.
But this is the thing, because a lot of people talk about this, and when you talk about this fight, another fight that pops up in your mind is Pacquiao Mayweather. Now, is this Pacquiao Mayweather?
No,
not even close.
No.
But let's talk about how that fight got put together. Showtime
and HBO.
But think about it now. Follow me here now. Showtime paid Floyd Mayweather. HBO paid Pacquiao. So and Bob Arum. So each guy brought their own money to the table. Deontay, let me just finish it because it's a great point.
Yeah, I know, you got it.
What is Deontay Wilder's side bringing to the table money-wise? Again, he's got Al Heyman. He's worked very closely with Showtime, right? He has no experience or no time fighting in the UK, right? Fight's going to be in the UK. As I said, not to sound redundant, that's a market that Joshua built. And that market is riding on Joshua's shoulders right now. So again, you're telling the side that's putting up all the money, you're telling that side how much they're supposed to pay you. They're bringing the money. So Eddie Hearn and Matchroom supposedly is putting all the money up. They're taking all the risk, okay? And you want a percentage, right? But you have a guarantee too, right? So you want a percentage of the revenue, but we still don't know what the revenue is. So they're assuming, because people are saying, oh, they never said it was a 80, $100 million fight. Shelly Finkel did say he openly said this is an 80 to $100 million fight. How do you come to those numbers? Because I just don't see it. So if the fight is a $60 million fight, right? Again, that's a $60 million fight. The fighters are not going to take the total revenue. Okay? So say, for all intensive purposes, out of the 60 million, maybe 45 is left over for them to divide up. So if you take 45 million, okay, and you divide that up 60-40, right? So that would be Joshua to get 27, all right? And Wilder would get 18. So would 18 million be a fair offer for Wilder, flat fee? Okay, let's say it only does 50 million, right? So if it does 50 million and say 35's left over, right? Once everyone's paid off, right? Joshua gets 21, okay? Then Wilder would get 14. So, I mean, I think at the very least, if they bump that offer up to maybe 15 million flat fee, I think that's fair. I think 12.5 is a little low, but if they bump, I think they should bump it up to 15, and I think that would be fair. That was about what Vladimir Klitschko got. But if you look at these guys' last 8 fights and you average the amount of money they made, over the last 8 fights for Wilder, he's averaged his purses have been 1.337,500. Okay, Joshua's averaged 6.5 million. So he's made almost 5 times the amount that Wilder has made in the last 8 fights. And he's not, when it's all said and done, what this fight is made, he's still not going to make five times the amount that Wilder's making when it comes time for them to divvy up the pot. So, if Wilder gets 15 and Joshua gets 23, 24, that's about right. For a fight of this magnitude. But I don't know. I 12.5 is a little low, but how low is it?
Okay.
One point, because Amok is saying 12.5 million pounds. I heard it was 8.8 million pounds, and I converted it to US, and that's how I came to the 12.5.
They say it's 12.5 pounds.
Was it? Because I don't know, because I read the article. I read the article in the Mirror and in the Sun Times, the UK outlets, the websites, and they're saying it's 8.8. I don't know.
Is this fight as big as the Lennox Lewis Mike Tyson fight?
No, not even close.
Not even close.
No.
Right? Does Deontay Wilder at least 10% close to be what Mike Tyson was in terms of the revenue that he can bring?
I don't believe so.
Joshua is a lot closer to Lennox Lewis. Maybe he's more marketable than Lennox Lewis at this time. I'm not sure number-wise how Lennox Lewis did. But is this fight promised to be the same type of fight in terms of the magnitude of what's going on? Can this fight be compared to the fight?
Probably not. No. Well, I'm gonna say why I like this fight better, because you're getting 2 prime heavyweights. Tyson wasn't a prime heavyweight. But in terms of name recognition, Lennox Lewis and Mike Tyson are ahead of both of these guys.
Of course, Mike Tyson. Hey, at one point, Mike Tyson was bigger than Michael Jordan. At one point, Mike Tyson was on top of the world. Like Mike Tyson, look, he's so. When it comes to Mike Tyson, one thing that I can tell you, Mike Tyson is very interesting because Mike Tyson is known from what he was, but he's also known from what he could have been. When they talk about Mike Tyson, they talk about two different Mike Tyson.
Well, Mike Tyson could still walk down any street in any city in any country in the world and still be noticed.
Like Mike
so
Tyson,
we know that.
Like Mike Tyson, but Mike Tyson brought leverage to the table. Mike Tyson could sell the fight. But I just don't see this with Deontay Wilder. If Deontay Wilder needs to be there and he wants to be the A side, he wants to really go out there and do what he's supposed to do, which is go out there, go to his country, and knock him out in front of his fans.
Yeah. Let me make this perfectly clear. I'm not Deontay Wilder's financial advisor. I have no problem with him asking for more money if he wants. I have no problem with that. The only issue I have is the 60-40 split. And what is that based off of? Because you can only, as a promoter, Eddie Hearn even said this, there's no way of knowing for sure how much revenue this fight is going to generate. You can only guesstimate. And I think if you're very, very optimistic, I think 60 million is a fair number. Let's say it falls somewhere. It's a $55 million fight. Okay. And at the end of the day, like I said, you take, everyone's cutout and whatever's left over, they divide it up. I think best case scenario, Wilder gets 18 and Joshua gets, 24, 25. Worst case scenario, Joshua gets 21 and Wilder gets 15. I think that's about, I don't see this 60-40, out of $100 million. I don't see it like that. So that's the thing. So 12.5 million could, maybe it's a little off. 15 would be fair. Why? I mean, 15 or 16 up would be fair. I don't think that would be a problem, in my opinion. But again, it's not for me to say. I just have a problem with people saying, "Oh, this is only 20%, it's 12%," based off of what? You have no knowledge of what the total revenue is going to be for this fight and what's going to be left over for the fighters to divvy it up. That's the thing.
Let me ask you something. Can Deontay Wilder make, if he's not ready right now with a negotiation, can he make a couple of more fights and build a fan base over there to make his case? Can he fight a guy like Dillian White?
That's
Fury?
Maybe if he did do that, then Eddie would turn around and at least have some data to go off of how big he is in the UK.
But fight him over there.
Yeah.
But you got to go over there and fight him.
And Amok made a great point in the chat. He said the problem is they want to give Wilder a percentile. It's suspicious to give a flat fee. Now Pacquiao was offered a flat fee against Mayweather, $40 million, but Pacquiao had a pay-per-view track record. He knew what could be generated, and we already knew when Pacquiao fought Mayweather. It was safe to say that fight was going to at least do 4 million pay-per-view buys. Everyone knew that. We have no data to go off of with Deontay Wilder in terms of pay-per-view. We don't know what he could generate pay-per-view wise because he's never fought on pay-per-view. And also, does he deserve a cut of the UK pay-per-view money when he did not build that market? He's never fought over there. We know Joshua has fought over there. He built that market. He in a small area, the UK region, which is very small, okay, compared to the United States, probably less than a third of the population. if he's generating $1 million or $1.5 million or 1.2 over there, correct me in the chat if people in the UK, if he's generating those amount of pay-per-view buys in an area that small, if you were to kind of convert that into United States in terms of population, right? If you were to do that, convert it to if the populations were the same in the United States, then it would equate to probably 2.5 million pay-per-view buys, somewhere around that region, or even maybe closer to 2.8 or 3. So I mean, he's already proven what he can generate and the amount of revenue he can generate. Wilder just doesn't have that marketability. He doesn't have that power that he's not that the same revenue monster that Anthony Joshua is.
Let me ask you this. How much viewers does he generate on television when he fight in Showtime?
Who?
Wilder.
About a million and a half ish, sometimes 2. But again, it's not pay-per-view.
It's not pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So I mean, at this point, my suggestion is to see him fight a couple of guys in the UKs and then make a case for yourself in terms of that. That's what it's going to come down to.
But if he beats Anthony Joshua, then he's going to make double that 12.5. Double it in a rematch.
But but the thing is this. Can the rematch generate more money than the first fight?
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
We have to see how good the first fight was.
Yeah.
If they put on a Klitschko Joshua, then yeah. That's what I'm saying. So I think the big thing that they seem to be hung up on is they want money. They want to get a percentage of the back end, and I just don't see how they can justify getting a percentage of the back end when they've never fought in the UK, because if it's pay-per-view it's not going to be pay-per-view in the United States. I don't think they're gonna put, because Joshua's never fought in the United States and Wilder's never fought in the UK before. So how, what can they do justifying, putting this on pay-per-view, in the United States? So if I just think this is all based upon Wilder wanting a piece of the back end, and the only back end the only back end he could get a piece of is the UK pay-per-view, and I don't think that they're going to give him that. And if I was them, I probably would fight to not give him that either. That's the thing. So
okay.
So last topic, man. Big fight next week, Crossroads fight.
What about Canelo? We're not going to touch up on that real quick.
That's right. I forgot about that. Good point. So Canelo has come out and said that he is never going to fight in Las Vegas again. Just like he said he's never going to fight for the WBC title again. Once again, Canelo is letting his emotions get the better of him. You failed the drug tests twice. The commission had its own rules in place. It had no choice but to suspend you. So, it is what it is. They have to uphold their rules, because they'd be looked upon as less credible than they already are looked upon. I mean, we're already questioning the credibility of that commission, and if they were to not, uphold their ruling according to their rules, then they would be a laughing stock. They would be looked upon as giving this guy preferential treatment, and it's horrible. It's just a bad situation. It's a bad look for them. For Canelo to not understand that is kind of a bad look on his part. But not only that, I don't know if he himself is going to go before this commission, but members of his team are going to go before this commission on April 18th. So I think remarks like this aren't going to serve him well in getting any leniency from this commission, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens here, because I think he was ill-advised to make a statement like that. I think that's a bad look on his part. And we'll see what happens moving forward. So now I think he's probably going to get a year suspension. And if he doesn't want to go back, he doesn't want to go back there. But again, shoot himself on the foot, because the biggest fights in history happened where? In Vegas. So why would you shoot yourself in the foot like that?
Except for those fights in Africa,
Well, Mayweather has all the records
for
the biggest fights in pay-per-view history.
Yes, but I know, but those fights in Africa were big too.
Yeah.
So,
but Vegas will own the.
Of course,
they will own the record for having the most
the biggest,
profitable fights in
the
history.
biggest draft, the most betting is in Vegas.
Yeah,
he really doing more damage to himself. Like, he incriminating himself more and more.
Yeah,
he's better off just staying quiet.
Staying quiet.
De La Hoya and his lawyers should be the one speaking on his behalf at this point. Because if you have nothing nice to say, you better just stay quiet if you are accused in a situation of this magnitude.
Yeah.
He's saying, I'm not fighting in Vegas again. But who's telling you Vegas want you to come again to fight? Who's telling you you're going to get those opportunities again?
Yeah.
Those opportunities might never come around again.
Yeah.
I
think by saying that, it's a slap in the face to the commission. But not only that, it's you're basically saying that you're above the rules and you're bigger than the sport. I think it's a bad attitude. I think it's a bad approach. It's basically saying he's bigger and more important than the sport. And regardless of what the rules are, he should get a pass. And I think it's horrible.
What about that? What about that Golovkin trying to find an opponent still?
Yeah. Let's talk about that too.
What's going on? Why is he so persistent on fighting on the fifth against anyone?
He's in a lose-lose situation because he's going to fight somebody that is on a lower level than him, because he can't fight a top-level guy on such short notice. He trained for Canelo, and mentally he was up for a tough fight. So now he's got to suffer this letdown of going from a big fight to a much, much smaller scale fight. And it's hard for him to maintain, I would assume, I'm not in his head, but it's going to be hard for him to maintain that same attitude and just mental focus and that same intensity, I think, going into the ring with a guy who's a lower level guy. And he runs the risk of not maybe looking good. He could get head-butted, he can get injured, and it'll hurt his chances for a bigger fight down the road in September or at the end of the year. So I think that he should probably just move on and move off this date and take a look at maybe fighting Billy Joe Saunders. Putting that fight in the UK, I think, would be a very lucrative fight for him. And I think he should focus on going back to unifying these titles again, which was his original goal. Because this Canelo fight, I think, a lot of drama, a lot of extracurricular things going on with this. When it comes to the judges, the drug testing, the hand wraps. This is one big headache after another. Why not just move on and just fight someone else, fight a Billy Joe Saunders, and unify the titles?
And then not only that, this is funny because he was getting prepared for Canelo that, oh my God, he's more stronger than I thought.
Yeah.
Because of the steroid.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God, he's more stronger than I thought. So he really put in a lot of work to try to make a statement in the second fight, to try to get criticized, to try to answer those questions. Was the moment too big for you? Why didn't you go to the body? Like those things. So it's kind of tough to just pick up. I almost threw up. I even started calling people that I normally don't call when I heard that he was going to fight Venus Martirosyan. I was like, hey, listen, why is this? This is unnecessary. But do you think they feel that they just wasted a camp if he doesn't fight someone, that he needs that activity to keep going since he's getting older too at the same time?
That's a good point. It's a good point. You know, because the clock is ticking on him, and they want him to stay sharp because he seems to be the type of fighter that likes to stay busy, and when he's not busy, it has an effect on him. But who are you going to find in such a short period of time? And how much tickets can you sell in such a short period of time? So why not just move say fight another low-level fight, maybe California or New York, and maybe do it in June or July, and then come back or maybe do it in June and then just come back in September against a bigger name.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
So now we are until an interesting matchup.
Yeah, this is a crossroads fight.
This is a fight that both guys been losing and have a lot to prove. But I think one is more of a loser than the other one because in Vargas' performance, his performance are to be more respected than Broner's latest performance. Yeah. Although Vargas has been losing, he's not getting demolished. He's still not as looking as bad as Broner. So I mean, what is your take?
Well, the knock on Vargas is he loses to the top guys like Bradley, Pacquiao, that upper echelon type of fighter,
Hall of Fame fighters.
But let's be honest. Even in losing in those fights, he's held his own. He looked like he belonged in there. When Broner goes up to that level, I don't even think Broner's ever been asked to go up to that level because, with all due respect to Maidana, he's an excellent fighter. Sean Porter's an excellent fighter, but they're not elite fighters.
Oh, what about he lost to Mikey too?
Mikey's
embarrassed.
He's embarrassed, but Mikey, he could be elite, but would you classify Mikey as elite yet? Because he hasn't fought. To be elite, you have to beat an elite fighter.
Mikey is elite in one thing. His boxing skill are elite in terms of the potential of him.
He has the potential to be elite, but he's not elite yet.
He has the potential to be. He's a matchup problem for anyone, but those fights has not happened. So
my point is, Vargas has come up short against elite guys, but still looked like he belonged in there with them. He was good enough to hang in there with them.
Vargas was criticized. Fighters were criticized for picking Vargas as their opponent.
Yeah.
And then he went in the ring and he did better than what people expected.
Yeah.
He pretty much shut everybody out. I mean, the fight against Ali, everybody thought, Ali was gonna destroy Vargas.
Yeah.
He knocked him out. It wasn't a spectacular knockout. And people thought, why is Bradley fighting Vargas? He came and he almost won the fight. It was a very good fight. Against Pacquiao, he didn't look that good. but
he was still in there. He still fought hard.
He fought hard.
And he made Pacquiao fight hard. Made Pacquiao work.
He was not in his
That's my point.
Yeah.
So on the flip side of that, Broner has been in there with very, very good fighters,
but not
elite. But in his performances against those very, very good fighters, he did not even look like he belonged in the ring with these guys. He was outclassed by Maidana. He was outclassed by Porter. He was outclassed by Mikey.
In my problem with Broner is this. In those three fights that you have mentioned, he probably won 2 rounds.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. And even in that fight with Adrian Granados, that was a fight that could have won. That could have gone either way.
Do you know how serious that is? Like, he probably won 3 rounds against those 3 fighters combined.
I guess my point is this.
Wow.
Vargas is nowhere near an elite fighter, but he's close to being a very good fighter. Is he as good as Mikey Garcia? No. Is he as good as Sean Porter? Probably not. Is he as good as Marcos Maidana? Probably not. But he's right there with them. He's a little bit lower than them, but he's not up there with them. So in other words, I'm saying that Vargas is a more well-rounded fighter than Broner.
Vargas is better Do you agree that Vargas is better than Granado and Vargas is better than Malignaggi?
Yes.
Those guys give Broner problems.
And those guys, arguably, some people even had those guys beating Broner. So I think Vargas is at this point in time, I think he's better than those guys. Or when Malignaggi, I think Vargas is a better welterweight than Malignaggi is. I think Malignaggi's claim to fame was at 140. He was never really a big effective welterweight. Will he go down as a better fighter than Vargas? Probably because of his resume and what he's accomplished at 140. But at 147, even though he won a title, he lost it.
But
quickly.
Vargas wasn't getting a lot of fight at 140. Yeah. So went up in weight.
So let me just finish my point here. The big thing is this. I think because of how Broner's looked at in fights against very good opposition, but not elite guys, how he's looked very outclassed, number one. And number two, he's not always been focused and he's always had distractions outside the ring. Regardless of what you say about Jesse Vargas is going to come and he's going to give you 100%. He's going to be 100% in shape. And Vargas is a dog. He fights hard. He can box, but throws a lot of punches. He can fight on the outside. He can fight on the inside. He can do whatever it takes. He can fight anyway. Broner's more of a guy who likes to have guys come to him. He's a mid-range guy. He's not an inside fighter. He's got short arms. So I just think that style-wise, this is another tough fight for Broner in which he can get outworked. This could be a fight where Broner may get stopped. I'm not saying he's definitely going to get stopped, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that Vargas could stop Broner because Vargas is one of those guys that he's in great shape and he's a good boxer, very accurate puncher, and he throws a lot of punches and he goes to the body. And at this point, Broner, you could say, well, how Maidana couldn't stop Broner, but this is like 3 or 4 years later.
Well, Broner bought a lot of time.
Yeah,
claiming low blow.
Yeah,
trying to say by the belt against Maidana. The thing is this: the reason why I think Jesse Vargas can stop Broner is because Jesse Vargas is not afraid to go with Broner toe to toes, and Broner gets hit a lot, and Vargas is a high volume puncher. And Vargas goes inside. And Vargas will want to brawl.
Vargas has more ways to win.
Way more ways.
Broner has to be that, again, like I told you with Lara. You said what's fighting the perfect fight? A counter puncher that doesn't throw a lot of punches has to fight a perfect fight. He has to virtually bat close to 1,000, right? But the guy that's thrown, it's like a hitter who gets up only 2 times in a game against a hitter who gets up 5 or 6 times in a game. You know what I'm saying? And Vargas is that guy that's getting up 5 or 6 times in a game. He has more chances to, at the plate.
And Vargas
he's facing more pitches. Go ahead.
And Vargas is the type of fighter that he will focus. He's looking for that one perfect punch. But while he look for that one perfect punch, he's not stopping throwing his. He's not staying not busy. Vargas is not the type of. He's looking to grab you with one punch.
Yeah.
But he's not waiting. He's looking, he's keep going at you. I mean, I just don't see, man, it's very hard for me to see Broner winning this fight, man.
I'm going with Vargas in this fight. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if he stops him.
And Vargas have proved too that he can box.
Yeah.
I think Vargas' biggest downfall too is this. In those fights, the fight against Pacquiao, right?
Yeah.
And the fight against Bradley, it has been the wrong style for him, and he has have to fight a different way. Because if he Vargas against Bradley, in order to make it a fight, he needed to go against him. He could not fight him from the outside like he did with Omosoto. Run away, try to stay busy, box. He couldn't do that. Against Pacquiao, he was gonna get attacked. Pacquiao was gonna come at him, and then he needed to be more of the counter puncher. So Vargas being in situation where have been while Broner, in the other hand, except for Mikey Garcia. Broner have a guy that bring it to him. Broner have a guy that come up with the style that Broner is looking for and fell short. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Broner's lost to every conceivable style out there.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, yes, exactly. So Broner is a counterpuncher, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't the counterpuncher want the guy to come at him?
Yeah.
Those guys came at him that are not counterpunchers.
And Mikey clearly outboxed him from the outside. Right?
Yeah, those guys that are not counterpuncher came at him.
Yeah.
Michael Maidana came at him. Granado came at him.
Yeah.
Those guys came and give him the fight that he's looking for. Sean Porter came at him and give him the fight that he's looking for, and he still fell short. I mean, I don't know.
And this fight's at a catch weight of 144 pounds. Will that have an effect on Vargas? I don't think so.
No, because Vargas is a natural like at 140.
He's a guy that weighs in at 145, 146.
Yeah, Vargas is like a.
So I'm gonna roll with Vargas very comfortably in this fight.
I think Vargas win. I think Broner will find himself second guessing himself. He will need to, in order for Broner to win, he's gonna have to knock Vargas out.
Yeah.
We the chances are very hard because Vargas can take a punch too.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Vargas. I think he's gonna win. I'm not against picking a late stoppage either.
Nothing wrong against Broner, but it's very hard to pick him.
Yeah, it's hard to pick him. It's definitely hard to pick him.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it. We'll see what happens next week. I'm sure we'll get more news on this Joshua Wilder as the world turns soap opera. Hopefully, they can come to an agreement and we get this fight. I guess also too, they were the date was that they were looking at was September.
For who?
For Joshua Wilder, if they were able to put the deal together.
September, because it's considered a summer fight, so they were looking at the beginning or middle of September.
Yeah, so
before the summer leave us.
Before we get out of here, do you think the fight happens or no? Do you think it happens this year or no?
No.
No?
No.
All right.
It's not gonna happen because
I'm crossing my fingers. I'm gonna say that this is what I'm not saying this is gonna happen, but 100% with 100% certainty. But this is what I'm saying that could possibly very well happen. And I'm crossing my fingers that it does happen. The offer gets bumped up to 15. Wilder takes it, and this fight happens in September. What do you guys think?
Who wins?
I was all in for Joshua, but I'm gonna still favor Joshua, but I'm not as comfortably picking him as I was a year ago. Let's just say that. And if I bet on him, I don't think I could bet on this fight. It's too close. You put a gun to my head, I'm going to pick Joshua, but I'm not 100% sure.
He's very hard to pick based on how that both of the fighters have done in the recent fight.
Yeah. Graham's saying they're not going to budge on 12.5. He could be right. I'm not saying he's wrong. But I saw an interview today with Eddie Hearn, with Kukin Cassius. Shout out to IFL TV. And he sounded like, we'll look at their counteroffer. Just remember, they upped the amount of money for a proposed Dillian White fight. They offered Deontay Wilder a specific amount of money for Dillian White. Then they came back again with a little bit sweeter deal. I don't know. Could Eddie bump this up to 14, 50 million? It's quite possible. Amok, I know you're saying that they should give him. I want to answer some of these questions in the chat, interact with the chat a little bit. Amok is saying they should give him a percent of the revenue, but two questions. What's the revenue going to be? You haven't determined how much this fight can really make definitively. It's only going to be a guesstimate. So if they give him a percentage, it can only be on the back end. So should he get a percentage of that UK pay-per-view?
But one thing
why should he get a percentage of that UK pay-per-view when he has done nothing to build it? That's my question.
But one thing about this too is this. The fact that the fight might not happen in this negotiation is creating more attention. It's creating more leverage for the fight.
Yeah.
And people want to see that the fight more and more now. So I mean,
Amak is asking me 30-40%.
that's not gonna happen.
30-40% of what, Amak? Like what are you basing the percentage off of? How much money is this fight going to make? If you're overly optimistic about the revenue of this fight, $60 million it generates. When you take out the TV money and the promoter money and all that, $45 million left. So I mean, there's a lot of variables here. So if Wilder, like I'll do the math again, you got $45 million left after everyone gets their cut. 45 million left for the fighters to divvy up. Okay, so then Wilder gets 18. Okay, so that's 5 million more than he wants. So if they're saying they want to give him roughly 30%. So 30% of 45 is like 13.5. So I think, to be fair, I think 15 would be a good number. And I think that they should take something like that. But that's just me. Again, I hate being the pocket watcher, but it is what it is.
Okay, my question is this. Who is Wilder going to generate more money than fighting Joshua? Because Joshua can generate more than Wilder fighting anybody else. Yeah. Like if they keep to not facing each other, Joshua will keep generating money.
Yeah.
Joshua don't need Wilder at this point.
I'm sorry to say that, but you're right. And I don't want to admit that because I want the fight to happen. But it is what it is, guys. All right, until next time, Beeb and Cisco the Realest, we're out of here.
1:30 next Friday. We apologize for that technical difficulty.
Finally got the technical difficulties down. I don't know what's going on. I had to switch out 3 laptops, but for whatever reason, that Google Hangout kept killing my mic. I don't know why. I know it's kind of embarrassing, but it is what it is, man. I have like 3 laptops. This was the final one that worked, and this seems to be the one we're going to go with moving forward. So until next time, talk to y'all soon. Peace out.
Thank you.